Why the NY Rangers are missing the playoffs again. Roster moves mistakes explained. The New York Rangers are in a precarious position, having fallen significantly from their previous status as one of the top teams in the league. Just a few seasons ago, they were celebrated for their exceptional performance. But now, the question looms, what has led to such a dramatic decline in their fortunes? Last season, the Rangers appeared disorganized and even made the bold decision to trade away their captain, defenseman Jacob Trouba. Since that pivotal moment, the team has been on a downward spiral, missing the playoffs and failing to make impactful moves during the offseason. While roster changes were anticipated, fans were also hoping for the infusion of new talent and a revitalized spirit. Unfortunately, General Manager Chris Drury has not met those expectations this offseason. In a series of questionable decisions, Drury traded Trouba during a particularly challenging 2024-25 season, seemingly in a panic, and received very little in return. Fast forward to this offseason, and he was at it again, trading veteran forward Chris Kreider to the Anaheim Ducks for center Casey Terrence and some draft picks. Many fans felt that Anaheim had essentially taken Kreider off their hands for a bargain. But Drury's actions didn't stop there. He also dealt defenseman K'Andre Miller to the Carolina Hurricanes, receiving defenseman Scott Morrow and additional draft picks in return. This left fans scratching their heads, questioning the rationale behind these trades. While it was clear that changes were necessary, the returns were shocking and did little to enhance the Rangers' prospects. As the offseason progressed, Drury turned his attention to free agency, hoping to bolster the team through new signings. He managed to secure defenseman Vladislav Gavrikov, who is considered one of the most sought-after players on the market, signing him to a substantial 7-year, $49 million contract. Gavrikov, coming from the Los Angeles Kings, was expected to fill the gap left by Miller's departure. However, this signing was the only significant addition to the roster. Drury also re-signed forwards Matt Rempe, Juuso Parssinen, and Adam Enstrom, along with defenseman Matthew Robertson. These moves came after the Rangers lost key players like Trouba, Miller, and Kreider. The team has seen a significant loss of talent, replacing them with players who are likely to occupy lower-tier positions or play in the American Hockey League (AHL) with their affiliate, the Hartford Wolfpack. The changes made by Drury are unlikely to yield positive results for the Rangers, and many believe he has set the team back further. After missing the playoffs, while this change might be seen as a slight improvement, the reality is that without a talented roster to work with, the Rangers may find themselves facing the same disappointing outcomes as last year. Drury seems to be steering New York in the wrong direction at a time when the Eastern Conference is becoming increasingly competitive. The Rangers are in dire need of a miracle to turn their fortunes around and finish the upcoming season on a positive note. What do you think? Are these moves going to help the Rangers, or are they just digging a deeper hole? Share your thoughts in the comments. New York Rangers news: Connor Sheary signing, 2025 World Junior Summer Showcase, and more. Rangers Daily, a return to the Blue Shirts coverage, 2025 World Junior Summer Showcase in progress. Forever Blue Shirts. As we find ourselves in the sweltering days of summer and the NHL offseason, it might seem a bit exaggerated to claim that I'm back on the New York Rangers coverage. The truth is, there isn't much of a buzz surrounding the Blue Shirts at this time. However, I have returned after spending a week exploring the stunning Maritimes in Canada. My journey included a visit to Halifax, which is recognized as North America's fastest-growing city. A fun fact I picked up at a local spot. I enjoyed hiking, biking, and discovering the breathtaking landscapes of Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. Who would have thought that places like the Bay of Fundy, Hopewell Rocks, and Peggy's Cove would leave such a lasting impression on me. They were not only striking, but also incredibly serene. And just to clarify, no, I didn't go searching for Sidney Crosby in Cole Harbor, New England. I always know where to find him, whether it's before or after games or during practice. Sid is usually at his locker, ready for a chat. I understand that Rangers fans might not want to hear anything positive about him, but it's the truth. Now, back to business here at Forever Blue Shirts. Although training camp is still a bit away, there's always a wealth of topics to discuss regarding the Rangers, be it analysis, news, or historical insights even during these quieter off-season months. Additionally, I have some exciting content lined up for the Rink Rap podcast throughout the summer. A big thank you to Dan, John, Ryan, Eric, and Tom for stepping up while I was away last week. Let's dive back in. New York Rangers. In my first piece since my return, I analyzed the advantages and disadvantages of the Rangers signing Connor Sheary to a professional tryout, PTO. Here's a hint. This decision could yield significant short-term benefits, provided that one crucial aspect of the roster is not neglected. John Kreiser has compiled a 20-man roster, 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, and 2 goalies, featuring the top Rangers players from 2000 to 2025. While there's room for debate regarding his quarter-century team of Rangers, it's a commendable effort by our esteemed historian. I also want to highlight the Shoulder Check Showcase charity event once again. Our own Eric Charles attended last week and reported on the 2025 event, emphasizing why NHL players like Chris Kreider, Jonathan Quick, Adam Fox, and Trevor Zegras find it essential to participate every summer. Speaking of the Shoulder Check Showcase, Kreider took the opportunity to bid farewell to Rangers fans as he prepares for his inaugural season with the Anaheim Ducks. NHL rumors and news, NHL.com. My friend Mike Morreale shares his daily insights from the 2025 World Junior Summer Showcase, including an interesting tidbit about how some current NHL players are assisting Team USA in a coaching role. TSN, the Buffalo Sabres have signed defenseman Connor Timmins to a 2-year, $4.4 million contract after acquiring him from the Pittsburgh Penguins earlier this offseason. Daily Faceoff. The Chicago Blackhawks successfully avoided arbitration with goalie Arvid Soderblom, who agreed to a 2-year, $5 million contract. Soderblom is anticipated to be Chicago's backup next season, supporting Spencer Knight. Sportsnet. Ryan Dixon suggests that 2 of the Rangers' division rivals could be ideal destinations for Nazem Kadri, should the Calgary Flames decide to trade him, as has been speculated. Sportsnet. In another rumor, Michael Amato discusses the potential fit of Penguins goalie Tristan Jarry with the Edmonton Oilers. Silly hockey now. Even while you're soaking up the summer sun, it's never too early for NHL predictions. William James shares a few bold forecasts, including the possibility of the Flyers making the Stanley Cup playoffs next spring. Jim Cerny serves as the executive editor at Forever Blue Shirts and the managing editor at Sportsnaut, boasting over 30 years of experience in the field. Mentioned in this article, Chris Kreider. More about New York Rangers news. Worst case scenario for the Rangers 2025 to 2026 season. What could go wrong? The New York Rangers 2025-2026 season could be a roller coaster, and the worst-case scenario is more plausible than many fans want to admit. Despite a promising offseason that brought significant changes, a cloud of skepticism hangs over the team. Many believe the Rangers didn't do enough, and that's a fair critique. Key players remain, and the roster still feels like a work in progress. While there's a path to contention, as explored in this analysis, https://blueseatblogs.com/2025-0722/Rangers contend for a cup 2025-2026, the worst-case scenario looms large if things go awry. But here's where it gets controversial. Is the team's current state a recipe for disaster, or are critics overreacting to last season's lingering bitterness? Let's dive in. The worst-case scenario for the Rangers isn't just a single misstep. It's a perfect storm of factors collapsing simultaneously. Think of it like a Jenga tower. One wrong move and everything crumbles. However, the likelihood of this happening is astronomically low, especially after the off-season overhaul. General Manager Chris Drury has made bold moves, swapping out nearly the entire roster. Out are veterans like Barclay Goodrow, Jacob Trouba, and Chris Kreider, replaced by newcomers like Urho Vakanainen, JT Miller, and Carson Soucy. The blue line is almost unrecognizable, with only Adam Fox and Braden Schneider remaining from last season. And this is the part most people... If the older players falter, the kids will be left carrying the load, a risky proposition. The biggest question mark? Zibanejad, whose performance last season still leaves a sour taste. While he's expected to play a more sheltered role this year, the real test is whether JT Miller can defy Father Time. If Miller thrives, it could push Zibanejad and Vincent Trocheck down the lineup, easing the pressure. But if Miller falters, the domino effect could be catastrophic. And then there's the defense, a giant question mark. Mike Sullivan's system is expected to bring stability, but until the puck drops, it's anyone's guess. The left side is particularly concerning, with Braden Schneider tentatively slotted in as the second pairing defenseman. Vlad Gavrikov and Adam Fox are the only known quantities, while the rest of the blue line is a gamble. From Schneider's injury history to Scott Morrow's NHL readiness, the defense could be the team's Achilles heel. If the bottom four underperform, the Rangers' defense could be as porous as last season, only this time there might not be enough offense to bail them out. So, what's the worst-case scenario? Imagine this. JT Miller slows down, Zibanejad can't handle center duties anymore, and Trocheck struggles as the second-line center. Even if the kids step up, Sullivan's defensive system relies heavily on strong centers. If they falter, the entire team could crumble. The defense, already a weak spot, would be exposed and the offense wouldn't be able to compensate. The kids' inability to contribute would only pile on the misery. While Lafreniere and Coyle could settle into middle six roles, the team can't survive if the defense, and by extension, the centers, aren't up to par. Unfortunately, this worst-case scenario feels all too realistic. The stars are aging, the defense is unproven, and the margin for error is razor-thin. In fact, it's not hyperbolic to say this outcome is more likely than a best-case scenario. The Rangers will likely land somewhere in the middle, but how far they lean toward disaster remains to be seen. Here's the thought-provoking question for you. Are the Rangers' critics overreacting, or is this team one bad break away from a disastrous season? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's debate.